Kaduna State government confirms release of 27 kidnapped students. Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) records 52 new cases of coronavirus infections. In international news, India hits another grim record as it scrambles oxygen supply. And in sport, NFF inaugurates 9-man technical committee.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Kaduna State government has confirmed the release of the 27 students of the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Afaka. Their release was confirmed in a statement signed by the state's Commissioner for Home Affairs and Internal Security, Samuel Arunwa, but did not give any information on whether a ransom was paid. The students were among 37 abducted in March, 10 of whom were rescued earlier. The bandits had demanded ₦500 million as ransom. Nigeria Center for Disease Control has recorded 52 new cases of COVID-19 on Wednesday in 6 states and the Federal Capital Territory, raising total infections in the country to 165,273. Taraba State led the pack with 18 cases. FCT and Rivers each recorded 9 cases. Lagos posted 7. After 7 days of zero casualty, the country recorded 2 new deaths on Wednesday, bringing the number of COVID-19 related fatalities in the country to 2,065. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has confirmed an exhaustive meeting with members of the National Association of Resident Doctors, after which he said they are ready to suspend the planned resumption of strike on Friday once they are paid their salary arrears. The Speaker's office said in a statement the doctors said the suspension is as a result of the assurance by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, that funds are available for the payments. The resident doctors embarked on an indefinite strike with demands for payment of house officers, abolishment of bench fees, adopting the national minimum wage, payments for salary shortfalls for 2014, 2015 and 2016, and residency training allowance. But Abiamila says all the issues raised by the doctors were resolved except salary shortfall for 2014, 2015 and 2016. The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to immediately suspend the National Population Commission's proposed 2021 population and housing census because of insecurity. House member Shehu Beji, representing APC Niger State, says the current insecurity had displaced numerous citizens and would not enable them to be captured in the exercise. Beji says the exercise would be fruitless because some displaced persons had even crossed over to neighboring countries for refuge and would not be captured if the census were conducted. It's been 3 months since the central bank restricted Nigerian banks from dealing with anything crypto-related, saying it was protecting Nigerians from fraudulent investments. Yet recent data suggests many have found alternative ways of accessing the world's flagship crypto, and trading has been impressive. Correspondent Deji Badmos has the story.
If you were looking for one typical example of how interest in the cryptocurrency is rapidly growing in Nigeria, then here is it. It's a class on everything about cryptocurrency in the Nigerian capital Abuja. It's run by this young man who describes himself as a cryptocurrency trader and investor. He says interest in his class has doubled since the Central Bank of Nigeria slammed restrictions on the trade in cryptocurrency in the country.
Now, it has actually given the crypto space more information. More people are getting to know about the cryptos after the announcement from federal government and central bank. Now, people are craving to know more about this. Do you understand? People are craving to know more about cryptocurrencies.
More young Nigerians are not just craving for more information on cryptocurrency. They're increasingly trading in it, ignoring warnings from the authorities on the risk involved. Last year alone, more than $400 million worth of the digital currency was traded in Nigeria.
The center of attraction on cryptocurrencies is about the money. It helps people to make money. If you had bought Bitcoin by this time last year during the pandemic, at $5,000, I mean, today you'll be sitting at $58,000.
It's not just the huge returns that is driving the interest in cryptocurrencies in Nigeria. A growing number of businesses are using them for ease of transactions involving forex and to avoid the impact of the devaluation of the naira.
With cryptocurrency, there is no limitation. You can send as huge as $100,000 to someone who is across border, and the person will receive the money. But in our banking system, you can't do that. The maximum you can send per day, I think, is $10,000. You see, so these are the things that is driving me particularly, and all the people that I educate about cryptocurrency.
Our importers, since they cannot get dollar from the CBN to fund their imports, so they turned into crypto as a means of exchange for buying their goods from their maybe merchants or producers offshore.
Back in his class, Polycarp is always upfront with his students about the risk involved in the cryptocurrency trade, especially its volatile nature.
If you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to trade, you'll be a victim. You pay dearly with your portfolio. The Bitcoin will dump on you. Do you understand? Dumping means it will crash. The dollar value of your coin will crash.
The cryptocurrency trade is more like a game of high stakes. But for Polycarp students here, it's a game they are determined to take part in and, of course, win.
Coming up, African stories. Twitter explains rationale behind decision to locate African headquarters in Ghana. And later, international news. India hits another grim record as it scrambles oxygen supply.
You are watching AN.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. When social media giant Twitter announced recently it would set up its Africa headquarters in Ghana, Nigerians in whose country are more Twitter subscribers than the entire population of Ghana were irate. But Twitter explained the reasons behind its decision. Correspondent Nabi Ahmed Rufai has that story.
Kwabena Nkrumah has been connecting with people, especially technology savvies, on the social media app Twitter for more than a decade. He is among several Ghanaians excited about the company's decision to set up its first Africa office in Ghana. He believes it will drive a change in the technology space in the country.
Our skills are intangible, so it's very difficult for business to say, hey, a developer deserves this amount of credit or this amount of remuneration, because clearly they don't know how much it's worth. So for a company like this to come, it's going to raise the value of our developers, of our techies, and then thereby causing a shift.
Twitter says it settled on Ghana because of its support for free speech and democracy. It plans to employ 11 Ghanaians for positions including engineering, marketing, and communications specialists. But the choice of Ghana as Twitter's Africa headquarters hasn't been without controversy. Twitter fans in Nigeria see it as a snub to the continent's largest economy, which is also experiencing growth in its tech space since Facebook set up its first community hub in Africa in Nigeria in 2018. They wondered why their country was not selected because it has more than 36 million Twitter subscribers, which exceeds the entire population of Ghana. Analysts say Ghana had the upper hand because it's easier to do business in the country than Nigeria. In 2019, Ghana surpassed Nigeria in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index, ranking 13 places higher. Nkrumah says the presence of Twitter in Ghana could unearth many brilliant minds in the technology space.
It may draw the attention to some local developers' products. That is good, but nobody is seeing. Maybe someone has created something that Twitter could put into Twitter and it could be very, very famous, but nobody's seen. But Twitter being here, that person could be seen.
Kwabena Nkrumah hopes this opportunity will help to transfer skills to many developers in Ghana and the entire African continent.
A policy on industrialization has been commissioned in Uganda. Minister of Trade, Industry and Operatives Amelia Kwambade says government will focus on scaling up sectors such as agro-processing for coffee, leather, the extractive industry and textile. She warns that policy on papers may not help much unless technocrats implement them. UBC correspondent Dennis Sigwa reports.
And there you go. Uganda's socio-economic transformation can only be achieved through an industrial revolution that enables value addition at scale with a greater share of the country in African value chains and exports. This was observed by the Prime Minister Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda at the launch of the National Industrial Policy 2020.
The third National Development Plan prioritizes industrialization as a key driver for Uganda's prosperity in line with Vision 2040. In fact, the overall theme of NDP3 is, and I quote, sustainable industrialization for inclusive growth, employment, and sustainable wealth creation.
As the country embarks on the implementation of the policy, which will be anchored on an elaborate strategic plan, issues of market expansion and regional integration are emphasized. Import substitution, value addition, and Ugandans rising up to propel the country to a higher level of industrial development is emphasized.
But we sit here and wait for the industrialists. Who is supposed to be Patel? Who's supposed to be Chongwen? Who's supposed to be any other? Why not you? Today is the day when you should stand up and industrialize your country.
The unveiling of the policy and the strategic plan comes at a time when the country has made significant strides in the last decade in promotion of local content in the industrial sector through the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy. The new policy is therefore expected to complement the notable achievements by building resilient and competitive enterprises.
Yes, manufacturing is important and is the way to go, but agro-industry remains strategic for Uganda in the short to medium term. I am glad the National Industrial Policy strikes a balance in this regard.
Despite government's initiatives to promote industrial development, there still exist persistent and emerging bottlenecks that need to be addressed urgently. This includes the cost of money, quality of infrastructure, high electricity tariffs, and mindset change.
Industrialization is vital in Uganda's social and economic growth agenda and its strive for middle-income status. However, experts want it to be done in a more sustainable and eco-friendly manner. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Kampala.
Algerian Health Minister Abdurrahman Bambouzid has confirmed the detection of the first 6 cases of the coronavirus variant in the coastal province of Tipaza, some 70 kilometers west of the capital, Algiers. The discovery was earlier reviewed by Pasteur Institute in Algiers after the Nigerian, British and India variant of the new coronavirus had landed in Algeria. When we return, international news. India hits another grim record as it scrambles oxygen supply. And later, sport. NFF inaugurates 9-man technical committee.
You are watching ANN. Somewhere in the world, every second of the day, news is happening. And of course, Nigeria is bustling with news day and night. That is why ANN doesn't sleep. Our eyes are peeled, wide open, so no story escapes our radar. We stay abreast of world events and happenings at home. We keep you up to the minute in the world of sports. We give you information to stay on top of your investments and all the hard facts you'll need to navigate your day. If you miss us on air, you can keep up to date on our website and on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. We are ANN, Africa News Network. We do news right in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. India's COVID-19 infections have hit another grim daily record on Thursday as demand for medical oxygen jumped sevenfold. The government has denied claims it was slow in distributing life-saving supplies from abroad as new confirmed cases breached 400,000 on Thursday. In this report, ambulance drivers tell a sordid tale of the COVID-19 reality in the country.
Over the past year, this has become a far too common sight in India. As one ambulance leaves a COVID hospital or a crematorium, another one rushes in, overwhelming the drivers as they ferry patients and the dead. Abhinay Lad has been an ambulance driver for most of his life, and he had been delivering bodies of COVID victims to crematoriums for the past year. But even he wasn't prepared for the pain of losing a family member to the virus.
I was carrying bodies for other families. In here is the body of my elder brother's wife. Today I realized the pain the others were going through.
The official death toll has topped over 220,000, but many believe the actual figure is much higher.
Since this morning, I have responded to 6 calls. Not a single one of them was from patients. They were all requests to transport bodies.
As fears grow over more infectious viral mutations, many are hesitant to physically touch their infected family members or to perform the last rites for the victims. Often, the drivers have to step in.
We have to do all these things. I've even carried patients in my arms, those who are old and unable to get on the ambulance. Family members stay away for fear of getting infected. This also makes the patients more nervous. When one's own family stays away, the patients panic.
Even though the drivers realize that they are also at risk, they have to do their job, but they do fear for their families. Many have moved their families to their villages, or they themselves have rented a separate place to live. India's second wave was fueled by the public letting its guard down, with people attending weddings and other social gatherings, political rallies and mass religious events.
Citizens have ignored the risks. We don't listen to the government. People are loitering on the streets. Authorities are asking them to stay at home, but still no one does that. A lockdown is supposed to be in place, but can anybody say this is a lockdown? People are everywhere. What can the government do?
But many frontline medical workers and ambulance drivers stay committed to their jobs, demonstrating a steely resolve in carrying on the fight.
Many developing countries who have been calling on rich countries to do more to get doses to the needy now seem to have an ally in the Biden administration. The U.S. government has now joined calls for more sharing of the technology behind COVID-19 vaccines to help speed up an end to the pandemic. The World Trade Organization now says it will assess proposals to waive patent rights on COVID-19 vaccines.
The World Trade Organization members will assess a proposal to waive patent rights on COVID-19 vaccines. Sponsors of the waiver say the temporary suspension would allow more factories worldwide to produce jabs without breaking rules under the WTO agreement on trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights, known as TRIPS. And the WTO agreement on patent protections plays a central role in facilitating trade in knowledge and creativity and resolving trade disputes over intellectual property. It frames the IP system in terms of innovation, technology transfer, and public welfare. The proposal to ease up on patent projections for vaccines was submitted by South Africa and India in October and is backed by 60 countries.
Israel is facing another possibility of going to the polls for a fifth time in 2 years after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu failed to meet the deadline to assemble a coalition. Israeli President Reuven Rivlin has picked Yair Lapid, a centrist politician, to try to form a new government. If he fails in that bid, it will be time for another election in the country.
Israel's president chose Yair Lapid, a centrist politician and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's strongest rival, to try to form a new government on Wednesday. But his path to success and whether it could end years of political stalemate in the country was still uncertain. Neither Netanyahu nor his rivals managed to secure a parliamentary majority in the most recent election on March 23rd. It was the country's fourth election since 2019, and all of them were inconclusive. Netanyahu has been fighting to stay at the top while also on trial for corruption charges, which he denies. He had 28 days to put together a coalition, but it ran out overnight into Wednesday after he failed to agree terms with potential right-wing partners. President Reuven Rivlin, in a televised address, announced his choice of Lapid to form a new government. He said the former finance minister had the pledged support of 56 of Parliament's 120 members, still short of a majority. Lapid also has 28 days to try to form a coalition.
Mexican authorities have promised a full and open investigation into the collapse of a metro overpass, killed at least 24 persons and injured dozens in Mexico City, as questions loom about structural failure.
At least 24 people have been killed in the collapse of an elevated metro train line in southeast Mexico City. A train went plunging onto a busy road below. Emergency services have been working to retrieve the bodies of victims still trapped in the wreckage. Authorities have promised a full investigation, but criticism is growing, including calls among subway workers for a protest strike.
Up next, sport. NFF inaugurates 9-man technical committee. Please stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. In sport, Nigeria Football Federation has inaugurated a 9-man technical and development committee that would steer Nigerian football to higher levels of excellence and enhance the national team's technical prowess by fashioning brilliant and workable policies. The committee's chairman is Ahmed Fresh, while Eyimba boss Felix Anyasi Ago is the vice chairman. Members are Paul Bassi, Aminu Kurfi, Isaac Daladi, Dahiru Sadi, Victor Ikeba, and Mutiu Adepoju. NFF Technical Director Austin Eguavon is the secretary. Paulo Duarte has been named new coach of Togo men's national team. He will assume office in August. The former two-time Burkina Faso boss has signed a 3-year deal to replace Frenchman Claude Leroy, who resigned last month. Duarte's deal with his club means he will miss Togo's opening 2022 World Cup qualifiers in June, away to Senegal and then hosting Namibia. Duarte's first competitive games in charge will be in September, with back-to-back World Games against Congo-Brazzaville. That is ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Have a great evening.